This broadcast is presented in 4K HDR Ultra High Definition.
Presented by Horns and Hooves Entertainment. You are watching Andy Van Meer, Adam Fitzgerald, Bobby Hansen, Sean O'Malley, Tom Wujacki, and Julian Cologne. You still up? Live. It's Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, September 28th. Of course, we're going to start off with part one today, where we're going to be talking all about hockey. I've got Buffalo Bob here as usual. Julian and everyone else is going to join later on for part two. Anyone who is watching the show, keep in mind, because I had some technical problems with my regular computer, we're going to be actually doing two separate 30-minute shows today. So hockey is the first part, football is the second part. How's it going?
Good. Just enjoying my week and had a lot on my mind lately about Sunday's game, which we'll talk about later. And then just been some interesting stuff coming up since hockey's right around the corner. So I'm excited for that. And of course, I gotta go on the show with some burners.
There you go. And then tonight, because we are having some tech issues, we will not be able to take call-ins or do the Facebook live chat. We should have that back up and running next week. But let's get right on to it. So, of course, we're in the Sabres preseason right now, and they've been looking pretty good so far, especially with the wins that they had and most recently against the Caps. But one of the big things that I know you wanted to point out from earlier was Jason Robertson.
So apparently, according to After the Whistle show, which is hosted by Craig Rivet, he basically reported he's heard multiple rumors about the Buffalo Sabres having serious consideration of making a trade to acquire stars forward Jason Robertson, and he is due for a contract. And the talks have just gotten really ugly with the Dallas Stars, and it's gotten nowhere. So there's now speculation that multiple teams like LA, Buffalo, Detroit, I think Washington was brought up. There's a handful of teams that are interested in Jason Robertson, and the argument that's being suggested is he's going to want $8 million in cap. But I don't know how true that is, because Robertson's been in the league now for almost 6 years, and I understand he's due for a pay raise. But my biggest question is, has he done this multiple times? I mean, I know he's been in the league for like 6 years, but like, you're paying a guy off of one season. But I'm not too keen if if he's done it multiple times over. I don't really know for sure because I don't watch the Stars. But he is a hell of a player, though. That I can't question. But to get his service, I think would be a big key acquisition for this group going forward, because they are rebuilding and they have a lot of young talent. But there's been some conversation about what they should give up for him and stuff.
Yeah, and one of the things that we can look at on the Sabres, I mean, right now we're stacked at center, we're stacked at right wing. Left wing is really where we need to start filling in some gaps. But Jason Robertson, I mean, he's had a pretty good career so far. And actually, I have some stats up for him now. But when we were in the 2021-2022 season, he played 74 games, had 41 goals, 38 assists, and 79 points. So that's a good stat right there. And then considering that he's had 58 goals in his entire career and 67 assists, 125 points, and overall a plus minus of plus 29, I totally see why Kevin Adams is looking at him.
Yeah, and again, the Dallas Stars are in shambles with this cap situation because you still have to hold on to the contract for Tyler Seguin. Jamie Ben's contract is no better than his. And then on top of all that, I think they just paid Miro Heiskanen not too long ago. They just lost that on John Klingberg. I don't know what's going on downtown in Texas, but as far as I know, the Dallas Stars are having trouble signing Jason Robertson, and I think he's demanding too much money. I don't know if it's a money thing or he doesn't want to be in Dallas, and he's using this as an opportunity to get paid somewhere else.
I mean, it certainly could be both. I mean, let's look at what Dallas has done lately. I mean, you just talked about that one trade that happened within the past week and a half. And the fact that Dallas gave up that first round pick, I mean, that was just absolutely insane on their part. Robertson, I can totally see that he probably wants to change his scenery. The Buffalo Sabres would give him an opportunity, and he would be able to come in and be on one of the top lines, especially on the left wing spot. And then you look at the production he's had. I mean, he's had pretty good numbers across his career. And even though right now we're looking at only the 2021-22 season, he brings playoff experience to the table too. So you really can't go wrong with that. So I think it's a combination of both. Yes, he'll want to get paid. And the Sabres have a better ability to hit the cap, basically from the cap floor to the cap ceiling. So there is room that they can work with.
And it's not to say that he doesn't deserve to get paid. He absolutely does. But it's how the management, because I've heard a lot of things about the ownership for the Stars. And I've heard that the guy, I don't know his name by heart, but I've heard he's a total cheap ass to the point where he doesn't want to pay one of his best forwards his average money value. You know what I mean? Like he wants, and Robertson, like I said, is rumored to want $8 million. And Dallas Stars fans are like, well, just get rid of him if he's going to ask for $8 million. I'm like, are you crazy? Why would you give up on one of your best players? And I was having this conversation earlier this morning with Andy, just off the, like, in the conversation or whatever. And when the news came out about Robertson, I was speculating ideas about what would they give up in a trade for him. Because remember, if you trade for him, they're offering him a contract and they're going to sign him like that. So my suggestion was that they give up at least 2 second-round picks and a high-end prospect. I thought of JJ Berturka, if I'm being completely honest. But another one that I thought of too, well, not me really, but Andy said this, and I'm just like, you're crazy. He thought of giving up Jack Quinn in a trade for Jason Robertson. I'm like, are you fucking nuts?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. No, Quinn's way too valuable.
Yeah, and Andy's like, nah, he's just an unproven rookie. I'm like, are you fucking stupid?
He's been tearing it up in Rochester.
Yeah, he tore it up in Rochester, and he was drafted in the top 10 2 years ago.
Right.
So, and to say, oh, he's an unproven rookie, clearly just tells me that Andy doesn't know dick about Jack Quinn, number one. And number two, I understand wanting Robertson, but you don't give up high-end prospects like that. I would be fine with giving up, like, Yuri Coolidge or Noah Osling, only because they just got those guys just a few months ago. But I think that I would be more comfortable, from my perspective, to give up JJ Berturka. Because I think if the Sabres, let's say their depth in the wing gets too tight or within the center down the road, it gets too filled up. I would say even from that perspective, there might not even be an opportunity for him to blossom. So I think even with that standard, I would even say, trade Berturka in a trade for a guy like Robertson. I'm totally up with this. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But to give up Jack Quinn is just literally like your career is on suicide watch.
Right. I mean, Quinn is not somebody I would want to let go. And especially with what he did against the Caps. And I mean, we look at the goal that he ended up having, empty netter. I mean, he is part of that new core that's coming up. And you have to figure, he's played with Peterka. He's played with Matt Savoy. He's also had the opportunity to play a little bit with Owen Power now. I mean, Owen Power, you don't get rid of. Jack Quinn, you don't get rid of. Savoy, he's still somebody I would want to keep. And then you have to figure those guys coming up. And Peterka is a good player. I'm definitely not going to say he's not. I mean, he certainly is a good player. I just think a possible lower upside. But when you look at everybody that's been coming up, Dylan Cousins, Peyton Krebs, Darlene, who's been here for a few years now, Matthias Samuelson, who's going to be getting more time. And then you figure you're adding Owen Power, Matt Savoy, and those guys as they come up. And then to top it off, look at everyone that we've brought in as of late. I mean, we've literally been able to accelerate the rebuild, I think.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you be open to the idea, and I just completely thought of this, would you be open to the idea of trading Casey Mittelstadt?
I would. I mean, I'm still not totally sold on him. And he's been here a few years. And I don't think out of all the guys that are coming up, I mean, well, number one, we're stacked at center, so we can expend it. He's expendable as far as I'm concerned. But Mittelstadt has not totally proven himself to me. And the thing I've noticed is especially when he had that slump about a year and a half ago where he got sent down to Rochester because he wasn't ready to be up here. I mean, that showed me a lot. And he didn't really turn it on in Rochester either until the next season. So that whole season was a total disaster for him. I just think that even still, even though, yes, his play has been better as of late, I still don't think he's going to be exactly the long-term answer, especially at that position. I mean,
agree.
we're in great shape with who we have right now. So I would say we could probably send Mittelstadt if we're looking to trade for Jason Robertson. I mean, we could literally trade Mittelstadt as part of it, and we could probably get some very good value off of it. And I would think we should at least be able to get probably somewhere in the second round range, if not maybe a little bit more. I mean, I do think we could get some value. And now is the time to do it, honestly, especially if we're looking to make any type of deal. Throw him in there because, I mean, he would probably, as we've seen sometimes, change the scenery can be great. And it certainly helped in some cases, especially when we got rid of Ristolainen. I mean, he seemed to turn it up a little bit when he went to Philly, and then he panned out. Look at what happened with some of our other stars that we've had. Same thing. A lot of times it can help influence, and especially if they're getting that confidence that, hey, we could possibly be on a playoff ready team now. I mean, there may be some incentive.
Yeah, and the thing is too, when I think about it, is I think if I'm Kevin Adams and I'm talking to Jim now, because I think the Dallas Stars are in complete shambles. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're gonna be decent. They're not gonna be great next year. I don't think they're not gonna be what they were when they just pulled the playoff run out of their ass 2 years ago. No way. But here's what I do think. If they do manage somehow make a trade to get Robertson and then sign him, of course they're gonna pay him. But
Right.
if we're discussing a trade, if you were Jim Nell and I'm Kevin Adams, or if you're Kevin Adams and I'm Jim Nell in this situation, I would say to you right now, if you wanted Jason Robinson on your team, and I have to be the one to be satisfied with him, my best suggestion would be Casey Mittelstadt and Noah Oslet and maybe a second round pick, or even Casey Mittelstadt. I'm fine with that either way.
Yeah. And that's certainly a pretty fair comparison. And now, taking a look at some of the other things with the young core that we have, I mean, since we brought up Peterka possibly being used as trade bait here, he would definitely command some pretty good value because, I mean, we did take him in the second round back in 2020. He was a 34th pick. He played in Rochester this past season, 28 goals, 40 assists, 68 points in 70 games. So he showed he can handle a pretty full season. He was, 70 games right off the bat. And then Savoy ended up coming in at number 9 in the 2022 draft after he led Winnipeg of the WHL. He had 90 points. So he had 35 goals, 55 assists in 65 games. So Savoy had more productivity in less time, which is good. You want that.
Yeah.
But if we had to keep Peterka, I would say ship Mittelstadt out.
Yeah, I mean, Mittelstadt hasn't really impressed me. I had really high hopes for him because he, at that time, when he first got drafted, he was considered the number 1 prospect in hockey when he first came out of Team USA in the World Juniors. I remember watching that game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had high hopes for him, and people mocked him for not doing the weigh-ins or the pull-ups at the combine when he first came in as a rookie or as a prospect, where the Sabres weren't guaranteed to take him. But at this point, I would be totally fine with parting ways with Mittelstadt, only to make room for Robertson. But you also have to understand, you have to also fill in the center role. And that's going to be a factor when I think you can get someone for cheap, but it's more of the fact that, Mittelstadt as a whole, I mean, look at that. Yeah, perfect right there. Minus 47 compared to Jason Robertson.
Yeah. And Casey Mittelstadt's played 195 games in the NHL, and you're a minus 47? I mean, he's only scored 33 goals, 47 assists, 80 points. He's had 28 penalty minutes, 9 power play goals. I mean, let's be honest, that's shit numbers.
Yeah, and the only thing that scares me is the Dallas Stars will not take him. I mean, they're not going to just say, all right, we'll take Mittelstadt just for the sake of it. I mean, he's the same age as Robertson, so it's almost to the point where it's like, what do you do with him? I mean, I want to like Casey Mittelstadt, but I remember when they drafted him, I was not sold on him. But I will say though, is that if they could get some value for him in a trade for a guy like Robertson, do it.
Mhm. Yeah, and let's even take a look at some other stats that we have here. So going back to 2017, 2018, I mean, he only had 6 games. He played a full season in 2018, 2019. And then we have to look at the 2019, 2020 season. I mean, this is basically around the time where he was sent down to Rochester. So it's just one of those things. He's not been consistently here, but that minus 47 stands out where,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely brutal. And then the other thing I look at, the faceoff percentage, he's only won 44.5%, which is among the lowest on the team.
Yeah, that's not going to be good enough. But I would say if you want to shake up the trade, I'd say throw Mittelstadt in the trade as well, obviously. But I wouldn't even mind trading away like Noah Oslin or Yuri Coolidge. I know they just drafted those guys a few months back, but again, we're talking about Jason Robertson. So if you want to get some value for him, there's an old term you got to give to get, and that's exactly what I think the Sabres are going to do, unless they somehow Kevin Adams pulls a deal to make Chris Drury look like an amateur. You trade away 2 second-round picks without having to give up any of those guys. And then you later trade Mittelstadt to a team that's in need of a center.
Right. Well, I mean, Drury made Dallas's GM look like an idiot about a week and a half ago, because we did talk about that trade a little bit when Dallas ended up getting Niels Lundqvist in exchange for the conditional first-round pick in 2023, a conditional fourth round in the 2025 draft. And basically, if Dallas's own first-round pick in 2023 is in the top 10, then the Rangers get Dallas's own first-round selection in 2024 instead, which is an unprotected pick. So Drury totally screwed Dallas on that case, and good job for Drury on that.
Such a dumb bastard. Jim Nell's just throwing away the Dallas Stars in a nutshell. And he really believed that trading away Ben Bishop's rights to Buffalo for 1 year is going to be a saving grace.
Yeah. And obviously it didn't help Dallas in any way. So
he had a good start when they got Tyler Seguin and then extending Jamie Benn. But as of even right now, the Dallas Stars, I think, have the worst contract in hockey, which is Tyler Seguin. And then I think Jeff right up there, but the difference is Skinner actually had a pretty good year last season.
Yeah, he bounced back after that off year. So, I mean, it was good to see him, but it was nice to see also because last year, keep in mind, with Granato taking over, I mean, Skinner was finally able to get back to doing what he does best. He is finally starting to contribute again, which we lost that because, of course, Kruger decided to be an idiot and destroy his top line when the top line was clicking.
Okay.
Just because he wanted to go ahead and make changes.
Ralph Kruger or Dan Bylsma, if you had to pick one.
Oh God, they both suck. But Bylsma actually has a cup with Pittsburgh. But then again, he actually inherited a team that was cup contending already. So and Pittsburgh did consistently underperform with Bylsma. I mean, they never really made it back until after Bylsma was fired. So I would still have to take Bylsma over Ralph Kruger any day, though. I would think.
Yeah, I think Ralph Kruger has more of that rah-rah speech mentality.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, let's make you feel good. Let's get it on. And then basically what happens is then Kruger is like, is basically how it goes.
Yeah, basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah. Basically, when he realizes what he wanted to have is not actually what he gets.
Yeah. Oh, just in time. We're actually on to the next topic. What's up, Sean?
How's it going, gentlemen? How you all been?
Good.
Doing all right. Little computer issue on my end today, so we're actually doing 2 30-minute shows versus a full hour, but we're making it work.
Yeah. So the next topic we're actually going to get into is on October 1st, which is on Saturday, the Seattle Kraken plan to reveal their mascot. I'm sorry. Did I say mascot?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Correct. Okay, because whoever made this post, Bar Down, it's October 1st. And on the post it says the Kraken plan to unveil their mascot on Friday, but it says Saturday. So there's a little continuity problem on here, but it's from the advertisement. But anyway, so Sean, what do you think, man? What do you think is going to be the new Seattle Kraken mascot?
Oh, good question. I think it might be like a part human form, part Kraken. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
Who honestly knows? I mean, I can't even tell you at this point what the status quo is going to be.
Yeah, and even some of the other things I've tried to take a look at with some of the Seattle media outlets right now. I mean, they're very tight-lipped on what it is. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
they're
really
not
want to
saying
keep it a
anything.
surprise.
Yeah, I remember when Vegas unveiled Chance. I remember, and I'm saying to myself, why did you name a Gila monster Chance? What does that have to do with the Knights? And then I'm
Right.
like thinking, oh, chances of winning and gambling and stuff like that. Seattle's going to be hard to you know figure out like what they're going to do, and I'm sure they've got an idea of what they want to do. And I imagine that their mascot's going to be something related to an octopus. I would have to imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
it
how
has
about
to be.
yeah? Well, there's what Philly did a couple years ago when they brought Gritty out.
Oh my god, I remember that
Good
thing.
gosh.
I remember when Gritty first came out, everybody laughed at the Flyers, and they were
Yep.
like thinking, "What the fuck is this thing? Is that something out of like Sesame Street?"
Yeah, seriously.
Right.
Actually, it was kind of funny because one show that I follow is actually my friend Joe Cronin out of Boston. He actually and there are people that do give donations on his show to help support his content. And he actually had this as one of the donation memes that came up where he actually even created a theme song too. It's like Gritty's so shitty, blah 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 sort of deal. So
Dang, I haven't seen a Joe Cronin video in a long time.
yeah, he actually was live earlier today too, and yeah, he's
Hmm.
actually he's out by Foxborough now. So one of these times I'll have to go out there and take a visit or whatever. But yeah, it is kind of funny because I've actually donated on a show before, and I think I already know I've given a lot. But it's kind of funny when I end up in the executive producer range for the amount of money I've given them. So
Right. So I was so like what do you think the mascot's gonna look like, Tom?
um, I gotta think. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they try to make it resemble like the actual Kraken sea monster as much as possible. I mean, they could pull it off. I mean, they could definitely do a head resemblance and all that stuff. It'll be interesting to see,
Well, you also have to keep in mind they're doing it for the kids.
right? Well,
So
Yeah,
true.
it might be like a cartoonish look for a Kraken.
probably, I mean, I'd imagine. I mean, what other way could they go? I mean, unless you do like a creepy ass New Orleans Pelicans thing, if you remember that thing that got
Oh
debunked.
God.
Huh. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It is Sean, Tom, bring it up. Sean, let me tell you something right, man. All right, let me tell you something. This thing, I'm not a basketball guy, but this thing is the creepiest fucking thing you'll ever see in your life. No joke. And I'm not
Oh
Oh
even
boy,
yeah.
I'm
exaggerating.
scared to see what it looks like now.
You're gonna cringe, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I found it.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
God.
And yeah, well, actually, let me find a better picture of it
Oh
because
boy, I got a
the,
bad feeling about this.
yeah, I was looking at it. I'm like, holy God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare.
Why will this not give me a bigger thing here? Oh, okay. I think I found it.
It is
Oh boy,
it is
I'm
literally
scared.
it is literally the perfect Halloween costume for like when you go to like one of those haunted houses for people where you go inside and a bunch of things pop up.
I wouldn't know because I've never been to a haunted house and I never will.
Okay, so imagine that. Tom, have you been to a haunted house?
Mhm. Yeah, I've gone to a few of them.
I've been to a haunted house, and usually the people that are dressed up like characters, and a lot of them are firemen or police officers or whatever, and they'll come out like this. That's what this thing looks like.
Oh boy.
Get ready. No, not that.
What? No, that's it.
No, that's not it.
Well, that is actually one of them, the king cake baby mascot. But okay.
Where's the pelican? Where's the giant
All
pelican?
right, I found it. I found it. That was actually one that they were showing, though. It's like one of the mascots that was down there.
Well, I didn't expect that. I was expecting a giant pelican.
Right. Okay. There we go. Finally, actually found a picture that's actually worth showing. So,
Oh
Oh
boy.
God.
all right. So, get ready to take a look at this.
Oh gosh.
That's not it. There was another one. It's not that creepy. It had its mouth open. It had a red beak.
All right, let's see if we can
Wait,
find another one.
that wasn't it either?
No, that's not it. Because again, they had one version when they first relocated from when they renamed the team from the Hornets to the Pelicans because the Hornets moved to Charlotte.
Okay, here we
Yeah.
go.
It made it look like a kaiju monster from like a Godzilla movie.
Oh no.
Yeah, it looks like something out of a Godzilla movie.
All right, here we go.
Third time the charm.
There he is.
What in the world?
This is it.
And ironically, it's holding a kids only sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me. I'm a pedophile. Get into my mouth.
Oh man.
Hello, nightmares.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was a deranged version of the mascot.
My God. And yet it was so scary that they actually changed the mascot to what we saw the second before that one with the yellow beak.
Yeah. Well, actually, here you go. Here's an even better picture that I found of the deranged mascot.
Oh no.
There's a little more.
Ah!
What in the world?
Ah, that's terrifying.
Okay, get off the screen. I get it now. Golly.
That like reminds me of The Simpsons when it's like when Flanders Kid after someone ends up saying like something and he's like, my ears, or it's like, my eyes.
Yeah, I hate mascots. Thanks, Dad. It's a long story.
Oh man. But yeah, it'd be fun to see what happens Saturday though. I mean, definitely that might actually that'd be cool to bring up on Kraken's Lair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely add it to my to-do list.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the season 2 of the Kraken's Lair. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you usually do that on Saturdays. So yeah, it'd be a good time, check out what's going on over there and then actually keep kind of trying to keep up to date a little bit more with the Seattle fan board now too, just to see what some of their fans are saying about this club. So
yeah, Clark.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see what goes on. But anyways, what we'll do is we're gonna jump right into Bills talk after the break. So stay with us. We'll see you on.
Buffalo After Dark is an H&H studio production and is produced in partnership with Horns and Hooves Entertainment.
You still up? Live. It's Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome back to Buffalo After Dark. We're in the second half of the show, and of course, we've got football and plenty of it. So of course, we've got Bob and Sean here with us. Julian's going to jump on in a little bit, and of course, tonight we're just going straight through. We're not able to take Facebook chat or calls just because of some computer issues, but we should have that back up and running next week. But let's jump right to it. Miami versus the Bills, and all I can say is that it took basically us going to our fourth and fifth string defense and our fourth and fifth string offense, and Miami still only won by 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Sean go first because I think he looks like he has a lot to say.
Oh, I got a bunch to say here.
Fire it away.
Okay, first off, I'm still on Ken Dorsey mode, just so you guys know.
Oh, that was beautiful watching that, by the way.
My gosh. I mean, anybody complaining how Ken Dorsey reacted to that loss? Like, no, it's exactly what the team needed. Hopefully now that'll freaking ignite some kind of fire just in time for the Baltimore game on Sunday. All right, and second of all, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Miami fans are worse than New England fans.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh, bro, the egos on these people, man.
Oh, I've not seen anything that bad in a long time.
All right, Here's the thing. When I was first a Bills fan back in 2003, it was just all New England. Could I stand them? But looking at how Miami fans react, I can see why Bills and Dolphins were huge rivals back in the 90s. I get it now. Holy crap, man. Dude, that one video on Twitter, what's his name? I think he goes by Smoke. Oh my gosh, dude, I want to punch that bum in the face.
Smokes, yeah, that
my
guy.
Gosh. The freaking arrogance of this dude. The fact
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the fans are saying, "Oh, Tua is the greatest of all time." He ain't shit.
No, he's not.
Well, I think to be fair, though, guys, Tua's garbage. We can just justify that.
Yeah,
But here's the thing. I think every fan base does that, where they say, "Oh, this guy is the GOAT." I think that's just the reference of getting hyped. I understand being happy that you barely beat the Buffalo Bills third string defensive backs, but don't be a fucking asshole. Don't go around telling stories about, like that Nicky Smokes character that Sean just talked about. He went on Twitter and had the audacity to write a 2-minute video basically say that I got so pumped up for the game. Bills fans are so arrogant. I saw one person who had a pocket knife and grabbed a little doll from a girl's hand, which was a dolphin, and ripped it up into shreds, gave it back to her, and she started to cry. I'm like, first off, I think that story's full of shit. Because number one, I don't think the NFL, no matter what stadium you go to, I don't think you're allowed to bring a knife into a stadium. So I find that extremely hard to believe. And two, I also think that story alone just filled up this guy's ego to the point where he has the audacity to make himself look like more douchebaggery than beforehand. Before this game, Bills fans, I think, have the right to shut down Miami fans. But after this game, I said, well, there was definitely some injuries that took play, and it was very clear. And it was also 120 degrees in the stadium.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the freaking heat exhaustion was crazy. Dude, Stephon Diggs kept getting cramped up, man.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. And then you notice when they updated Hard Rock Stadium, when they added that canopy, you notice how the Dolphins are in complete shade at all times. And then the visiting team basically roasts in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did that on purpose.
They did.
Yeah.
It's called home field advantage, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's called.
Which I can guarantee we'll do something similar in our stadium when the time comes around for the new place. But that was just insane. And I had heat exhaustion once driving in a desert. It is no joke.
Tom, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Bills do this in December when the Dolphins come to Buffalo. I wouldn't be surprised. So if they're going to pull that shit off, I mean, I didn't care prior because I knew they were doing it all these years. But I feel like if that's going to be their argument about that, of why the Bills lost and how they're such bitches, apparently, here's a counter proposal. If they're going to pull that shit in Miami, don't give the Dolphins any heaters when they come to Buffalo. Let them suffer in the
cold.
No heated benches.
Turnabout is fair play.
Exactly.
Let's see how they like it. And bro, dude, in December, I cannot wait to see the look on that bum's face when we beat him in December, man. I cannot freaking wait.
Hey, Julian.
Hey,
what's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man?
Good.
What's going on, guys? How we feeling tonight?
You're in good timing, man, because basically the game this weekend drove us all to drink, and we're all venting tonight because of everything that happened. But here's one other part I wanted to bring up too. So of course we all know Doyle's out for the season with the blown ACL. It was good to see Dane Jackson practice today, so he is officially questionable. But going back to that game though, Josh Allen in the 15 yards on the nut grab.
Oh,
well, yeah,
gosh.
I don't know if you guys checked out Pat McAfee and then Kyle Brandt. I mean, Josh.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing, Josh is a professional. Like, he knows exactly what to say and how to say it. He doesn't point the fingers. He takes all blame to himself. Like, I'm truly grateful for the type of person Josh Allen is. He could have went left. He could have went right. But, I mean, it is what it is. He said if you looked at it, anybody with two eyes, see what happens. I mean, Christian Wilkins, he's known for it. I mean, there's video of him in college just grabbing a whole handful while the guy's just around. He's just walking by.
Gosh.
A whole handful, man. It's ridiculous. And honestly, hopefully the NFL can do an investigation and look into him because, I mean, obviously Josh is going to get fined. He got the penalty. I mean, but come on, man. The NFL acts like these players don't have emotions and they can't react. Even when it's as simple as a taunting penalty where Stephon Diggs is patting his helmet towards Ramsey. Come on, it's just that's not poor sports.
That was soft.
No fun league.
Exactly. So
yeah,
I don't know. That is ridiculous. He definitely. I call suspension. I mean, I forgot what. Yeah, it was on Kyle Brandt. No, not Kyle Brandt. It was Pat McAfee. And they started talking about, and another player was talking about, like, yeah, man, anything goes down in the pile. I mean,
AJ Hawk mentioned it today too.
Yeah, they're pinching, they grabbing, they doing all types of things, man. If it wasn't for the helmets, they'll be biting as well.
Hell, McAfee was even talking about one of the 2 times he was at the bottom of the pile and he was getting a karate chop in the arm for it. So, I mean, that stuff happens. But real quick, before we get into some more stuff with the game. So, I mean, the stats were absolutely insane. 31 first downs for the Bills, 15 for the Dolphins. Basically 497 yards of total yardage for the Bills, 212 for the Dolphins. Basically 2 touchdowns for the Bills, or basically, what the hell did you send me, Bobby? I can't even, it's like, there we go. Yeah, 2 touchdowns for the Bills, 3 for Miami, 1 turnover for the Bills, nothing for Miami. But the big thing, and I'll bring this up on the screen here because it's actually, I was finally able to get like the full screen cap off of this. But the one thing I have to look at, time of possession.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, this is something.
Over 40 minutes that the Bills controlled the offense.
My wife and I were talking about this game, and we both agreed that if it weren't for the shitty play calling on the offense in the second half, when it came down to the most, like the last 5 minutes of the game, because I think the Bills had the game in hand if they kept their composure. But here's the problem. Number one, I get it. There's injuries, shit happens, and it's 120 degrees because you have the sun, and because keep in mind, and this is just basic science.
You're roasting in the sun.
Yeah, this is basic science. When you're in a hot area, let's say like Miami, and all the reports came out about Hurricane Ian over the week. And I mean, I'm sending out my prayers to everybody in downtown Florida. Be safe. But here's the factor. When you have a storm or a hurricane that's coming down your way, you're going to expect humidity. And being in Miami and then having the humidity added on top and being in shades of the dark inside the stadium does not help your argument, because you're suffering with your cramps because your body's going to deteriorate over time naturally. It's called chafing, and then you have cramps, and there's a buttload of injuries. The Dolphins sat in the shade because the guys were just talking about this. The Dolphins were in the shade and the Bills were in the sun. So, and the counter proposal is when the Dolphins come to Buffalo in December, don't give the Dolphins a fucking heater. Let the Bills have the heaters. That's their home field. They can do whatever they want. Let the opposing team suffer in the cold. That's the best suggestion. Because if they want to be pieces of shit and do that, so be it.
Right? Let's see how they like it when they don't have heaters on their side.
Plow all the snow to their side of the bench.
There you go.
Oh, even better. Even better.
I do want to say, counter to what Bobby was saying, I mean, I kind of disagree about the poor play call. I mean, I feel like Ken Dorsey called another phenomenal game. It just, there was a lot of factors that came into our downfall. I mean, yeah, we have 40 minutes of total offense. That is ridiculous, and that's what you want in offense, but not in a day like that, not in a game like that. That causes more harm than good.
Right.
I mean, Josh Allen, that was what, 11-minute drive.
Yeah. I mean, he was balling out. He was balling out, and he threw 62 times, or 62 times, 63 times.
I don't really I mean, Josh Allen makes that throw 9.5 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you're throwing it 60 times in the game, you're playing every snap. I mean, Steph Diggs got to sit out. Everybody on the offense got to sit out.
Yeah.
But Josh. He's exhausted. He threw over 60 throws or attempts and all that. I mean, and he still tried to get the job done. I mean, it's tough when you come into a game already 5 defensive backs out. You got rookies, and bravo to the next men up, to the rookies and the backups. Yo, they played a phenomenal game. I mean,
Elam showed up. I mean, Benford, before he ended up going out with the hand injury, I mean, same thing. I mean, he was shutting them down. So the corners were doing their job.
Yeah, I just read
averaging. I'm sorry, go ahead.
My bad. Yeah, I just read a stat that like when the Dolphins played the Ravens, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill had like over 300 passing yards against the Ravens. But this week, they were held to under 200.
Yeah.
And
So the
and this was
offense
only
did their job.
against yeah,
130.
and this was against our second string, third string secondary.
Yeah, defense held up. I mean, they were doing their job, and offensively, I mean, we were controlling the time of possession, and we were controlling the offense. So, I mean, that's a big plus. You want to definitely look at that. I mean, but I also look at Gabe Davis. He should have had that catch. That is a catch that you don't miss.
He always catches goals and
and Tyler Bass. Yeah, missing the field goal. But there is another thing I want to bring up, and this is going to get pretty interesting because Tua going out at the end of the first half, and Miami said it was a head injury, only to backtrack later in the second half. It's like, oh, it wasn't a head injury, it's a back injury. So, of course, the Dolphins get rid of the tweet saying it was a head injury, which, of course, even if you delete it, it still remains out there. And the NFLPA is now investigating. So now it's going to get interesting that the union's going to be going after it.
Yeah, not once, but twice. Because not only about the concussion protocol, because how the fuck does any human being, I don't care what sport you play, how the fuck do you go through a concussion protocol and you're in and out in 15 minutes? How the fuck do you do that?
It doesn't happen.
It's not possible.
Exactly. And usually when you're in concussion protocol, it takes at least a half an hour to get done with everything. So maybe, in my theory about that is the Dolphins knew that if Tua sat out for the second half of that game, they would have gotten blown out. And they knew and they have no faith in Teddy Bridgewater. That's what that tells me. So they got desperate and they scrambled and they said, all right, we already broke the rules one way. Let's break the rules again with another. We already tampered with Tom Brady. Let's just rush our concussion protocol. So now the league is looking into this and they should lose more draft picks for this. I mean, they already lost.
They'll lose more money too.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll get a big fine.
And they lost the first round pick in this coming year, and then they lost the third round pick in 2024. So that's 2 draft picks right there. And on top of all that, if it's proven that Tua does in fact have a concussion, because the Dolphins are listing him as quote questionable with a back injury, because you know what it is? I think the management and the team doctors or whoever runs that for the Dolphins, I think they're full of shit. They know full well that Tua has a concussion, and because let's say Tua does play against the Bengals tomorrow night. Let's just pretend, and I think he's going to, but let's say he does. And it's going to prove the Dolphins, because they don't want to get exposed for lying, they're going to play him, and then he's going to get hit so hard tomorrow by whoever, maybe Trent Hendrickson, or I don't know. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to affect his play, and he's going to have to sit out for the game, and then it's going to be like, oh, Tua has a concussion. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to not look like assholes when they prove they are assholes, but at the same time, they're so desperate to win against against Buffalo so bad because they're 2-0, they want to go ahead and lead the AFC East. But yeah, at least Buffalo admitted it, they had players that were injured, but in Miami's case, they had like pure desperation on their hands with how they handled the situation with Tua, and it's going to come back and bite them. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
They missed the health of their franchise quarterback for their Super Bowl. I mean, for a Week 3 game.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But I mean, that's their organization. That's how they want to play. I mean, congratulations, you won your Week 3 game. Dolphins fans are going crazy. They're going crazy. They're making songs. They're doing this and that there. But congratulations.
Gosh.
Congratulations, you finally beat the Bills. But do remember, you're still 2-8 against Josh Allen. And I do remember vividly that we blew you guys out the water. Even our backups was racking up points on you when you needed a win to get in the playoffs.
Yep.
Right.
30-point beatdown.
Right.
But you guys want to go crazy over this. Whatever. Let's be humble and hungry. Let them go crazy. And then we'll see who makes it to the playoffs.
Right.
Exactly.
And there is actually one funny thing that we will talk about also. So of course, Mark Sanchez basically is no longer necessarily remembered for the butt fumble, because now what happened is Miami punter Thomas Morstead decided to punt the ball directly into his protector's ass, and he was only 10 yards deep in the end zone, and therefore we have the safety.
Is there an injury report on his right ass cheek?
Oh my god!
You just see the impact. It got to go down for an injured right buttocks. I'm telling you.
Right. Right. I mean, and that was like square right in the ass. I mean, there was no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's gotta hurt like a mother. Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing I have to wonder, and we'll play a clip of it here in a moment, but we have to wonder though, it's like, once you can't line up 15 yards deep, it's like, don't you just take the safety and basically then you can just punt right out of the 20? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's weird in a way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, holy crap. I mean, that is something you would not normally see. But what I will do though is for everyone's amusement, so we can have a fun laugh at it. We'll actually go ahead. We'll share the nice little play here.
So read this out loud when it comes up. Read this out loud when it comes on. Holy shit. Oh yes. Here we go.
Oh boy.
So before you play the clip, Tom, I don't know. Wait, is it going? Yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
I was gonna say to you, according to Pornhub.com, a Florida man takes it in the ass by another Florida man.
I mean, there's like no doubt about that. It's like, yeah, try to back it up a little bit, but yeah, literally like ball right off the ass.
That's crazy. How accurate can you be to kick it off another man's ass? And there was another that was relived by Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, Dan Orlovsky was loving it. He's not the only person to step in his own end zone. So
yeah, really.
I mean, yeah, that was funny, but that's not as funny as the butt punt, though.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, the butt punt definitely takes the cake.
End zone.
Yeah. Even
but...
though and the funny thing is, my wife and I were talking about this game, and when we were actually talking about the butt punt, it's like, listen, even though the Bills lost, there's no denying that was funny as hell.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. And we thought that the butt fumble was bad. I mean, this was even funnier. So, but I am definitely going to show. I did find a meme for it though. So what I'm going to do is I'll bring that up, and you guys can have a laugh at this. But this sums it up pretty well.
Okay. Don't worry, he's got. Don't worry, he's got some strong punch.
Oh man. But yeah, it's like, hey, it's not every day you see someone take a punt in the ass.
Yeah, imagine his grandkids in like 60 years from now be like, hey, Grandpa, what was it like to play in the NFL? Well, kids, you see, I actually had a teammate who stood in front of me and his butt cheeks were in my face. So I accidentally kicked him there.
You're going to tell grandkids, you ever got a football up your ass?
Yeah. Well, Mark Sanchez was having fun with it because he's no longer the laughing stock. So he ends up putting out on Twitter. It's like, whoa, stay out of my lane, bro.
Oh, that's
there's the ball ricocheting off his ass. Oh God.
Oh, you know what's funny? When I first saw that play live, I remember thinking, wait, how'd that happen? I thought it went off of like, someone's back or their helmet or whatever.
Right.
And then they showed the replay.
And they're like, oh my God, it went off his ass.
Yeah, basically. Basically.
Oh my, holy God. But oh yeah, there's, and actually one of the local radio stations here had some funny stuff about some tweets that came out. So I'll share those with you, and then we'll talk about some of the other highlights here. But oh yeah, Sherman had a good one.
Just you're going to need something to stop.
Oh man.
So, there we go.
Wait. If you zoom in the picture, you can wait.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fad.
If you look close enough in the football, you can actually see the smoke on that. You see it? Oh my God.
Oh yeah. That's great.
I mean, when another man kicks you in the butt, man, that's fucking hardcore.
Yeah. All right, here you go. Where in your house would you put this?
Oh my God. Imagine your 10-year-old who becomes a Dolphins fan and they put that up on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Right. Or here we go. Dolphins kicker be like Mortal Kombat.
Oh my god, I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
That's
Seattle Entertainment. When the guy in front of you is a few beats behind during the Cupid shuffle.
Oh my god.
But literally, like somebody cropped that. Like they literally took.
Oh no, someone zoomed in on it.
There you go.
Oh no.
That's great. It's like they got it like perfect time. It's like you can see it like radiating off his ass.
Oh gosh.
Man, that's fucking hardcore.
Yeah, really. Today, Tyreek Hill witnessed history, so he talked about it, and then of course they had the butt punt and extreme slow mo, and then there was my cheeks have a big W tatted on them. What?
God, they should put a big.
Oh man.
The football lace has been printed on his cheek.
Yeah. Oh, the greatest photo of all time. Even the NFL was laughing at it. Oh, here we go.
God. Read the bottom comment. Upon further examination, this looks as if it may require.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, geez. Someone throwing political stuff in here now.
Oh, jeez.
God. And then, when you lose to a team that had the butt punt.
Oh,
I
man.
love that. I know a lot of people talking about Ken Dorsey, and that's unprofessional, but I mean, everybody's talking about all the players. They love that. They love that type of emotion coming out of their coach.
Yeah.
He wants to win.
Right.
Yeah, I was just saying that's what we needed to freaking spark a freaking fire, man. That's what we needed.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone else says.
I think the Bills are going to go on a rampage after that.
Oh, they're going to go on a freaking war path.
Right.
Best believe that.
Yeah.
You ever see Rogue One from Star Wars story? You remember
Yep.
that movie?
Yep.
Remember with Darth Vader when he comes out for the first time and he kills.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to be the Buffalo Bills in a few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
We might even see it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we gotta get healthy first, man. We gotta get healthy. We gotta get our players back in shape.
Oh,
Yep.
right. By healthy, you mean signing Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, no, that was amazing.
Good signing. Good signing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like that signing.
Yeah, and you know what? I looked at the injury report earlier today. There's a lot of guys who are limited, and that's actually a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
What's going on with Benford? I know he fractured his hand. Was there a time on that?
For who?
Benford. He said he fractured his
Not
hand.
sure. Let me see. Let me look it up for you.
And then we got Jake Kumro with a high ankle sprain. Still looking on to see how long Jake Kumro's going to be as well.
While you're looking that up, here's a fun fact from Jeff Kerr on Twitter. Even with all the injuries in the secondary, the Bills still lead the NFL in opponents' passer rating allowed, 65.3.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What does that tell you about the
gosh.
depth of the roster? I mean, we're stacked. I mean, that's a great thing. Yeah. So actually, today the injury report, and this is from CBS Sports, right now with what they're showing. Cam Lewis, cornerback, he's limited, so he's questionable with the forearm injury. Dawson Knox is limited, questionable with the foot. Justin Murray, same thing, is Knox, foot injury, limited. Gabe Davis, limited, which is good because he was out last week, or he was limited in the game this past week, but he still has that ankle injury he's getting over. Deion Dawkins did not practice on Wednesday, but he is questionable. He's just dealing with some illness. And then, of course, Tommy Doyle's on the IR, so that's where we're looking at there. But then looking back to Monday, Ed Oliver is limited, was limited in practice on Wednesday, so he might be coming back with the ankle, which is good. I mean, if he does, we'll get some size back in there. Christian Benford's is expected back by week 8, so that's the hand fracture that he's dealing with.
But you know what, though? I will say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the Jordan Phillips, though, Sean McDermott, I was listening to his conference. He said that Phillips could be back by at least week 5 or 6.
Yeah. So Phillips being out, I mean, same thing. And Mitch Morse is actually questionable now too, because he has the elbow injury, so he might be coming back. Ryan Bates did not practice on Wednesday, and he is questionable. He is dealing with a concussion right now. But I will say, though, watching the film earlier with Dane Jackson walking out of the field house and going right onto the field, the fact that he could possibly be playing this week, like less than 2 weeks after having that wicked neck injury that we all saw, that's pretty damn impressive.
Oh, yeah. But you also have to keep in mind, they also said there was no significant or major injuries that were in play for that. So I could see why he would be coming back so soon. I mean, if it was like, a high ankle sprain, then obviously I'd be like, stop, damn it, whatever. But outside of that, he's fine. And I said, you know what? The Miami game, I expected him to be out because of the injury or whatever. But if he plays against the Ravens, that's huge. And plus, think about it. If he does come back, he's going to get mentored by Xavier Rhodes and Tre'Davious White by week 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and that's the one thing we got to remember, too, because Tre'Davious White, I mean, he's basically going to be through his first 4 weeks of IR. So he could actually come back for week 5 from the PUP list. So that's a good thing. And then, same here.
Yep.
And then thinking about some other stuff too. I mean, Kumaro, he's questionable for week 4, the ankle injury. Micah Hyde losing him though for the neck for the rest of the year. I mean, yes, it is a tough loss, but at the same time, how big of a loss is it in all reality when we have all that depth we can work with?
I actually read something interesting. And that was if the Bills decide to cut him in 2023, because he's a free agent, not this year, but the following year. If the Bills cut him, they're going to take on a dead cap hit of $7 million. Unless he retires, then it's only $2.5 million, which isn't too shabby.
Very true. Very true. But, even with everything, it's not a lost cause for the Bills. I mean, they still have a lot of good things going. They still did a lot of good things in that game. It's just the way that everything went, the last few moments, and especially when we couldn't get out of bounds to stop the clock. But I also think that the refs were slow taking their time to get the ball back on to the line of scrimmage.
I have a major problem with the entire NFL at that, because there's multiple games where that happens, where there's seconds left, whether it's halftime or towards the end of the game, where players are trying to hurry up and then refs are in the way, or even other opposing players holding down, laying on top of players while they're trying to get up and run back to there's something that the NFL needs to incorporate and put into play to stop allowing players to lay on top of players trying to waste seconds, or referees taking their sweet old time to place the ball in the middle of the field. I mean, I, for one, with the Isaiah McKenzie, I mean, you're kind of doing more harm than good trying to run all the way to the sideline, because even if you don't make it, which you didn't, you still got to backtrack the ball back into the hash marks. He was better off just trying to get the play, go down, and clock it right there. You would have more than enough time to really think of a better strategy game plan. Yeah, it may have been 4th down, 62-yard field goal kick, but, I mean, that's still time for you to shoot, throw one into the end zone, or give Tyler Bass some time to make that kick. But, I mean, you really can't blame Isaiah McKenzie. He's just trying to make a play. He's relying on his speed to get him to the end zone, or not the end zone, the sideline. But, I mean, not everything fell our way, man. We just got to try to do better. Definitely clean up on those the pick sixes, missed field goals, drop touchdown catches. You got to definitely capitalize on those.
Guys, Coolio just
Good old Pornhub. No, we're not sponsored by them.
And I got porn in front of me.
By the way, I actually have some breaking news. Coolio just died.
What?
I said Coolio just died.
Not Coolio.
No.
Yeah, Coolio died at the age of 59.
Oh man.
Crap. Yeah, that just came out actually. Yeah, you're right about that.
Oh man, are you serious?
Why would I be lying?
Yeah, here it is. So yeah, TMZ's got it too. He died Wednesday at the age of 59. He was at a friend's house when he excused himself to go to the bathroom, and then when he didn't return after a reasonable amount of time, the friend reportedly called out to him and did not get a response. So then he was pronounced dead on the toilet, basically after a suspected cardiac arrest.
Oh man.
Which kind of reminds me of that Sopranos episode where one of the mobsters died taking a dump on the toilet.
Didn't Elvis Presley die on the toilet?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he did.
There you go.
Oh, man. Well, All I can say, well, we all know Coolio was most famous for Gangsta's Paradise and being part of that soundtrack with that movie Dangerous Minds. So if anyone from his family is watching, Godspeed to everybody. We're thinking of him. Yeah, he was definitely well worth. He did a lot of cool stuff in his time. So
rest in peace, Coolio.
Yes.
Blessings to the family. Yeah. But to turn the shit to a more positive note, Kaiir Elam through 3 weeks. I don't know if you guys touched on this, but through 66 coverage snaps, only allowed 50 yards, not even a yard per snap. That out of a rookie. Bills rookie hasn't let much past him. He's been playing phenomenal. I mean, all cameras not on them. They're not making the big plays, big stops, interceptions here, that. But I mean, 66 coverage snaps and only 50 yards gained. That's pretty great, man. No touchdowns allowed.
Yeah,
we definitely got to start with our first round pick, man. Hopefully, keep going strong with that.
Absolutely, and that's a great point. And it's a good way to end our show tonight too, with bringing up that stat, because Elam's definitely been holding his own, and the fact that he's been able to step up with Trey White being out, the fact that Benford was able to step up with again, same thing with the corners being out. That shows a lot of promise right there. And the awesome thing is now we've got that depth to work with. So especially with Trey White scheduled to come back, and then of course with Elam playing the way he is, Benford will be back around week 8 unless he comes back sooner. But I mean, that's great to see, and that's going to help us, especially with making a deep run.
Now, quick bomb I want to drop on you guys. It might get us thinking and feeling some type of way. Was that Titan game the last time we'll ever see Poyer and Hyde in the secondary for us?
No.
Hyde is out for the year with his injury. Jordan Poyer with his contract situation. Was that the last time we see the best safety tandem in the league? If not, can I say NFL history? Can I say it that far? But
definitely one of the best. Yeah. Yeah, definitely one of the best.
Here.
Yeah, I think they're going to have at least another year. I mean, I would think so, because I mean, they've both earned a contract as far as I'm concerned, and the way that they've stepped up. And of course, you're going to have them working with the other safeties, and same thing. Even when we were depleted down in Miami, we still had safety coverage. I mean, it wasn't as good as what we would normally be seeing, but we have the depth there. We still held Miami to 19 points, to 21 points. I mean, that ain't bad, considering every single thing that happened. So with that, but considering we still could have won it and we were on our 5th string guys, nothing wrong about that. So
next game up.
Exactly. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up for tonight. Julian J. Mafia, good show this past week too. I did have a chance to take a look at it after. So before we go, where can people find you?
On Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, please check me out at Mafia Talk, ABFP. Just a Bills podcast, man, a Bills fan podcast. Love to have anybody joining in. If I'm just your average fan like everybody else. So if you got any hot takes, anything you want to get off your chest, please inbox me. Like I said, it's Mafia Talk. I'm Julian J. Mafia. Please tune in, man, and let's get some work going on.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say we gotta bring PZ in here one of these days for hockey too, so we gotta start doing that. But yeah, definitely feel free to bring them on. And then of course, you guys, we'll see you next week at our normal time. We should have everything fixed by that point, so we won't have the limited 40-minute deal like we do today. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time.
Go Bills.
Buffalo After Dark is an Asian H Studio production and is produced in partnership with Horns and Hooves Entertainment.